What up, YouTube family? I'm back at the drawing table. Welcome to my channel. And for those who've been here before, welcome back. Today, I want to talk about allowing yourself to do loose, messy drawing. Allowing yourself to do rough work, right? And not spending so much time focusing on the details. A lot of times, as artists, we spend way too much time focusing on a detail, trying to make these super polished, rendered pieces of art. And we tend to do this because that's what draws us to art in the first place, right? When we are young, we might get exposed to comics, animation, just different things, paintings, and we're like, we want to make art like that. But what we don't see is all the work that is done to get to that final polished piece, right? And a lot of times, what that is loose, messy drawing, right? And so, for example, it's a good idea to do this if you're able to get your hands on, like, say, a rough draft sketchbook of an artist that you like. Um, One of the ones I have with me today is this book. It's Rough Work, Concept Art, Doodles, and Sketchbook Drawings by Frank Frazetta, right? So this is Frank Frazetta's Rough Works. Frank Frazetta is like kind of a legend in the art world, but let's look through this. Let's look at a couple things in this book, right? So as you look at this, you see how loose this drawing is. Like, he's not really focusing on any detail. He's just trying to get the structure down, right? He's just his main focus is trying to get this ideal across and trying to figure out how he's going to, you know, build out all the poses in this particular piece. And so when it is time for him to draw it, a detail, he doesn't have to focus that much on that because he's already done that work. uh, See here, these are all just loose, and he has like notes in here to remind him of things. uh, this is a book one right here. I like this one, right? Because you have this guy, he's kind of like in a straight up pose, right? And then you got the snake back here. And then he's like, I want to make this more dynamic, right? So he has it. He kind of changes the pose of this guy some more, kind of leans him over. Now he has a chain, uh, to make it more dynamic. But as you go all the way here, because I've seen this piece of art and it's the same exact composition, but what ends up happening is I don't think he ends up going with the snake, or he does another one, and it has a will of mammoth in it, right? And here is the rough sketch of that one with the will of mammoth in it, right? I mean, you look at this, look at that. Same thing. He just made it even more dynamic. I mean, he ends up leading the guy this way, but look how much more motion this has in it, right? Exact same composition, everything. The back of a guy. I mean, he has him now. He ends up where he has like a spear in his hand, or something. So he's like fighting this thing. But see how rough this is? This is solely to get the ideal down, the composition down, the structure down, right? And then he would come back and then do the more final polished piece later, right? But he's just trying to figure out. He's trying to figure out how he's going to build this. He's trying to gain a understanding of how to achieve this particular pose, this particular composition, right? And that's what we tend to miss out on when we just go straight into trying to draw super refined, detailed, polished pieces of art from the jump, right? We spend a lot of time doing that, um, but not really focusing on that structure, that foundation, right? We have to focus on that foundation. It doesn't matter how well you uh, render and put fine trim on. You can on a particular piece of art, or think about it like a house, right? You can build like a beautiful house with all the finest uh, trim and all the finest material detail that can look amazing, right? But if you build it on um, bad foundation, it can just go down at any time, right? Like it doesn't have the that under support that it needs, so it can all come crashing down. And that under foundation, where we uh where we're doing that loose, messy drawing, uh that's us building that foundation and trying to gain the understanding of how to go about uh drawing what we're drawing or doing what we're doing. Um, and the foundation is the glue that holds everything together. That's why sometimes we may see pieces of art that is beautifully rendered, but it's just something off about it, right? We can't. Sometimes you may not be able to put your finger on it, or even your own, or you might draw something and you spent all this time drawing it out and rendering it, and you can't really figure out what's wrong with the your piece of art. You can't put your finger on it, right? And it's something off on it. A lot of times what it is not the rendering and the fine detail. Is It's probably started somewhere in the early stages of your particular piece. So that's, I would say that's why it's a good idea to do more of these loose, messy drawings to build that understanding and get that foundation strong. This is something I wish I would have known earlier in life. Uh, when I first started drawing, but generally nobody was there to teach me this. But yeah, it's very important to do that. Like, not to focus on the fine, detailed, polished pieces. Building, getting that loose, messy drawings will help you build that understanding, and you can get more from it because you can do more of them in a setting, right? So if you're drawing for like an hour and a half in a day, and you can spend all that time doing one, really kind of polished piece, right? Where you're spending a lot of time shading it and detailing it and all that stuff. Or you can spend a lot of times building the structure, like figuring out how to go about building that structure. And you could do a lot more of those. It may take you, you know, an hour and a half to do that more, where you going into that fine detail. But like, say you take a pose that you want to build, or figure out a pose that you want to build, you can sit and draw that same pose probably like 15, 20, 30 times, you know, in that little hour and a half session, right? Because you're just trying to build that structure. You're spending like 3, 5, 10 minutes on these loose drawings. But that's all I have for you guys today. I will catch you on the next one. Peace.